Most people are aware of you through your Oscar-nominated Turn for Revolutionary Road, or of course Boardwalk Empire, that's now on TV. But for me, it was when you played a cinematic terrorist 11 years ago in a certain film.
Oh, Cecil B.
by
Demented.
John Walters.
Yeah, Cecil B. Demented. Yeah, wow.
You had a very memorable line involving Mel Gibson's genitalia. Do you remember that one?
Tell me about Mel Gibson's dick and balls?
That's
or cock
it, yeah.
and balls? I can't remember. Jesus, it was so long ago. Yeah, that was a good line. That's probably one of the best lines I've ever gotten to say. And I said it in the audition too, so I got to say it a lot. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And there were a lot of people in that film that went on. You know, that was one of Maggie Gyllenhaal's first films. Adrienne Grenier from Entourage was in that film. So there were a lot of nascent careers in bloom. Yeah.
Now, getting to Take Shelter and of course Shotgun Stories, both of which you've done with Jeff Nichols, I've always thought those films, they pack the amplitude of a good novel, and I think in the same way your performances kind of remind me of the writing of Hemingway for their Economy and Understatement. So is your approach and preparation for these very taciturn everymen quite different from when you're playing these manic, crazy energy characters that you're very well known for?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, with Jeff's films, you know, I'm from Kentucky and Jeff's from Arkansas, and in that particular region, there's kind of an archetypal, you know, Southern man that doesn't really say anything unless he has to, and is not really interested in talking about his feelings, and just kind of gets the job done, you know. And it's kind of this American Southern kind of character, you know. I mean, the first time I worked with Jeff, I was basically kind of, I wouldn't say imitating, but certainly drawing on a fellow who used to be my stepfather when I was little. Big Mike was his name, because I was little Mike, and but he was the prototype for this character I'm talking about. That's was not a man of many words, and yet you could tell there was something going on inside of him, something he was trying to deal with and wrestling with, and so I use that as a inspiration.
I understand that though you've done 3 films together, you have Mud, of course, coming out. You weren't necessarily the first choice for Take Shelter. I read that he was talking to you about it on the phone, right. And it's when he heard you conversing with your daughter in a very different tone of voice that he said that was the moment that he knew it was you. Would you care to elaborate on that for us?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to. I mean, it's interesting. I guess maybe Jeff wanted Curtis to be maybe a little bit more functional than Son, you know, because Son's a parent as well. The character I play in Shotgun Stories, he has a little boy, but his marriage is falling apart, and they've moved away, and Son's a little. He's kind of over it, and he's kind of given up a little bit. And it was really important to him that Curtis not just seem troubled, that you could actually believe that Curtis is, you know, a good father and a solid guy who's having a problem, you know, who's being derailed from a certain way of life by these dreams that he's having. That, you know, you can't think right at the outset, oh my God, there's a crazy person. You know, you got to see a transition. And so I think that's probably why when he heard that, and he heard me being like a nurturing, fatherly type person, that he maybe, you know, believed I could do that.
Do you think if the world is in fact coming to an end, of course the ending is open for interpretation, but if that's true, do you think for Curtis, in at least one sense, it's a relief, because it means that he's kind of escaped this fear of his mother's schizophrenia being passed on down to him?
Well, I don't know. I think the ultimate relief is just accepting the circumstances, you know, for anybody. regardless of what particular circumstances they're dealing with. I mean, we all have to deal with feeling threatened by the world. I mean, I can't imagine not feeling threatened. There's a lot of threatening things happening right now. Just yesterday there was a massive earthquake in Turkey. And it seems like every day something like that's happening somewhere. So it's basically a matter of having an acceptance of that and not letting it take your life away from your enjoyment of your life away from you.
And finally, we couldn't let you go without asking you about the Man of Steel. I'm sure you've had a lot of questions about this already. It's my understanding that you were going to be off on a plane tonight to go and shoot that.
Oh, well, tonight I'm actually flying back to New York for a little R&R, but I came straight here from Vancouver. I had just been working on a scene with Russell Crowe, who's playing Jor-El, the part that Marlon Brando played in the originals. So, and I'll be doing that off and on until Christmas. So, yeah, going back and forth.
And you're pleased with how that's going so far, or do you even have a sense of what it might shape up to be?
Yeah, it's hard because it's such a massive film, and there's so much that they've done where I haven't been there. A lot of my work is concentrated in November, but I've done enough scenes where I can get a sense of it, and I really trust Zach. I mean, I like his sensibility. I particularly love his visual style. I think his films are stunning visually, and I think that's really going to be an exciting combination, his style with this material, because I think it will truly be different. I mean, the thing about Superman is I think the cat's out of the bag in terms of the story of Superman. I don't think you're really going to surprise, I used to joke early on, it's like, well, our Superman's about a giant vine that can play the trumpet, I mean, everybody knows what Superman's about, but the question is, how do you make it different? And I think Zach is going to do that with his visual style, and also maybe a little bit more depth to the characters than usual, a little bit more dimension. Yeah.
Well, we're certainly really excited about all the success you've been finding with Take Shelter. We've actually named it our #1 film at the festival.
Oh, thank you.
And the review names it as Film of the Year.
Oh,
so
wow.
We'll have our fingers crossed for you come awards time.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much for talking to us.
No problem.